Hello and welcome. I'm Mina, and I hope you're all doing well. Today's video is called Calm and Authentic. Sometimes we face situations where it touches something within us, and we feel an emotional response. And in the world of yoga, we're always like, everything is calm, nothing can touch me, I'm so peaceful. But the truth is, obviously, we're just flawed human beings. So things trigger us, things make us feel certain things. And quite often, we've gotten so far that we don't respond right away with anger or hate or, dismiss things. But we're still figuring out how to stay calm, how to stay authentic, without swallowing up emotions, being in denial, suppressing emotions, but also responding in an authentic way that is respectful to other human beings, to the outside world, and to ourselves at the same time. So I thought in today's practice, we're going to attempt that. So first 15 minutes, we're just going to move our bodies a little bit with the intention of cutting off everything that's unnecessary. So everything that's noise, everything that's opinions from other people, everything that's been indoctrinated, let's cut that out. Let's let that drip out of our body, center us. And then we're going to sit down to breathe and just feel. Good. So I invite you to bring up a question where you're like, okay, I don't really know how I feel about this. Or maybe there's something you need to decide on and you don't really know. You probably already know, but you're not really okay with your response. So maybe there's a question, an inquiry, something that you need insight with. I invite you to sort of invite that onto this mat as we go into a child's pose. I have a little cushion that I'll use to sit later on in a meditation. Maybe you like to sit on a chair later. You can already set that aside so you have that ready when we are ready to go into breathing. So coming into a child's pose, whichever variation you choose today, I'm going to close my knees a little bit so I can really feel the belly on my thighs. Start with my arms extended. You can already bring your arms alongside your body or in any other fashion that you would like to orient your arms in. Good. And then you can take a few moments to arrive in your child's pose. It takes a while until we can really let go of the weight in your head. Allow the body weight to drop into the ground through the knees or the shins, or the parts of our bodies that are touching the floor. Maybe you like to sigh a few times. Good. And here you can start to breathe, lengthen your breath. And with your question, your inquiry in mind, I'm starting to breathe a little bit more into your back. So every time you inhale, there's a spaciousness across your back. And every time you exhale, you're going with gravity, allowing your entire back to move a little bit closer to the mat. Maybe if you feel the breath moving into your lower back, your middle back, or even your upper back, it's completely fine. And inviting the sense of washing your back or stroking your back. So energetically, the back bodies are often referenced with our past. And if you think about it that way, you can think of kind of gently wiping off or gently stroking off everything that's been indoctrinated into you about what's good or bad from your back with gentle motions of your breath. So every time you inhale, you create a little bit of space. And as you exhale, you can let something go that doesn't serve you. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Information that doesn't serve you in becoming authentic, becoming truly yourself, and being really connected with who you are at a core level. Good. Wonderful. And then you can slowly open your eyes, walk your hands forward and lift your gaze. Good. And you can come onto your fingertips here. I'm going to widen my knees so that my torso has a little bit more space. So coming into a little bit more of an active child here, lengthening through the armpits, through the sides of the body. Inhale here, and as you exhale, you can walk your fingertips over to the right side. Lengthening the left side body here. Both sit bones really, really heavy. Shoulders soft. Neck and head soft. Let's take one more breath in, like you're spreading the space in between the ribs. And exhale, getting a little bit gooier. Nice. Let's walk the fingertips over in a big arc over to the left side. Good. And again, settling here through both sit bones so your base stays heavy. And then seeing if you can soften your shoulders, your neck. Again, using the breath to create space. And with the exhale, getting a little bit more liquid. Nice. Wonderful. Slowly coming back to the center. And making both sides bodies really, really long. Before you ground your hands and come onto all fours to tabletop position. Wrists under your shoulders and knees underneath your hips. And then let's move through a few cat-cow. As you inhale, drop the belly, shoulder blades pressed together, gazing forward. And as you exhale, again, round, press the knees and the tops of the feet into the ground to round. Inhale again, open heart, perhaps gazing forward, pulling the shoulder blades together and back. And as you exhale, round, reaching the tailbone down, spreading the space in between the shoulder blades. A few more times to mobilize the spine, the hips, the shoulders. Starting to connect the breath with the movement. If you practice with Ujjayi, pranayama, you can start to invite the sound into the breath. Good. Last time as you exhale, round. Good. And then coming back onto your hands and knees. Nice. From here, let's come into a bird dog. So you can start by kicking your left foot back, your heel, and right fingertips forward. Nice. You can stay here, finding the sense of engagement through the core, wide lower back, and then perhaps lifting the heel up. Good, staying here for a moment, feeling the stability from front to back, but also from side to side. And then as you exhale, slowly lower the hands and the knee down. Other side, kicking the right foot back. Again, engaging the crow. Left fingertips this time forward. You can stay here or lift the heel up. And we're working the midsection here a little bit to come to our core, to literally come into our center. One more inhale here. Good, and then slowly come back. Let's do that dynamically. Inhale, right arm, left foot. Exhale, down. Inhale, left arm, right foot. Exhale, down. Good. And keeping our body more or less stable, making sure you don't swing a little too much, get too wobbly. Staying nice and centered. Lower back pulled in. At your own pace. Maybe one more round. Staying connected through the breath. Nice. And then come back to both hands, both knees. And you can circle your hips for a moment. It's an opportunity to give the hands and the shoulders a little bit of a rest by shifting the weight a little bit further back. Still taking this time to gently soften the hips. Wonderful. Good. And then slowly coming back onto all fours, stacking the shoulders on top of the wrists. Good. And from here, we're going to do like a baby plank to begin with. As you inhale, you can come forward, making sure you're not dumping the weight into the lower back. I'm staying nice and compact, like I'm trying to round my back as I shift the weight forward and back. Inhale forward and back. Inhale forward, back. Last time. You can stick with this one or tuck your toes under and inhale, come into a plank and lower. Inhale, plank, lifting the knees up. Exhale, lower. Inhale into a plank, lower. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower. Last time, plank, whichever variation, you can just shift your weight forward. We're lifting the knees for a moment, pressing the hands down to the ground, lifting the kneecaps like you're trying to reach your thighs up towards the sky, tailbone reaching towards the heels, ribs towards one another. Take one more breath in. Good, and then exhale slowly. Lower the knees. Let's come on to sit on your heels for a moment. Soften your wrists for a moment. Good. Making sure all that energy and tension in your shoulders isn't clogging up your wrists. Nice. Good. And then we'll slowly come into our first downward facing dog. Bring your hands down, tuck the toes under, and then at your own pace, lifting the hips up and back. Good. And maybe you'd like to walk out your first down dog. Bending one knee at a time, perhaps releasing the neck. Maybe like to wiggle a little. Good. And at some point, finding this asana, your knees can be bent so that there's lots of space from your tailbone to the fingertips. I'm almost trying to go gadget, lengthen my arms. So that I'm creating space, belly button pulling in. Wonderful. And today we're going to walk the feet forward. It can be really soft about this into a forward fold. Oh, knees can always be bent. And then back into a plank. And then into a downward facing dog. And then you can walk the hands towards the feet. So we're going back and forth a little bit. You can keep your breath continuous. Your knees can always be bent. Back into a plank. And then back into a downward fold, forward fold. So back and forth. Don't have to be the deepest positions. Everywhere. So walking the hands into a forward fold. And then back forward into a plank. Holding plank for a moment and then walking the feet to the hands into a forward fold. Last round, back and forth. Keeping the breath slow and flowing. So making sure you're shifting the weight from your hands to the feet. And this is really just to feel the weight shift and still feel your strength. At some point, you're going to arrive at the front of the mat in a forward fold. Feet kept hip width distance apart. Okay, bend your knees. Drop the head. And making sure you're dropping the head nicely. So really that the weight of the skull and the brain can really lengthen the spine. Good. Wonderful. Let's take 3 halfway lifts to get the breath into the spine. Inhale, halfway lift. You can press the shins, hands onto the shins, lengthen. And exhale, pulling the belly button to the spine, fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Shoulder blades move down the back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And every time you fold, you're letting go. Good. Keep your hands down on the ground, and you can walk the feet a little bit off of the mat. So coming into a wide-legged forward fold. I'm going to stay in this angle. And you can again soften the knees. And you can hold on to opposite elbows. You can bring your hands down depending on where you are in this position. And what I want to invite, the sensation I want to invite is that there's a sense of lifting up through the legs and then letting go through the crown of the head. I'm going to shorten my stance a little bit so you can see a little better. Every time you inhale, you're lifting up energy through the legs into the pelvis. And as you exhale, you're letting go everything that doesn't belong to you. A few more breaths. Inhale up the energy through the earth into the pelvis. And as you exhale, you're allowing yourself to fold deeper into your own truth. Last breath, inhale through the feet. And exhale like you're dripping water out through the crown of the head. Wonderful. Good. Replace your hands. Inhale to halfway lift. Great space here. And as you exhale, you can heel toe the feet back, hip width. Good. And from here, walk the hands down to the ground and the feet back into a downward facing dog. Wonderful. Good. Let's inhale, roll forward into a plank onto your tippy toes. Lower back rounds, middle back rounds, upper back rounds. And then exhale like a wave, pushing back into a downward facing dog. 2 more times, inhaling, allowing the wave to come and wash over you. And exhale to down dog. 1 more time, inhale into a plank. Feeling the strength in the center of your body, the broadness in your back. And exhale, down dog. Good. Let's come into Anjaneyasana. You can just step your right foot forward or inhale into a 3-legged down dog, creating space. And as you exhale, stepping the right foot in between the hands, lower the left knee down. Good. Adjust your outfit. Wonderful. You can keep your hands here on your knees, or perhaps reach your arms up. You can always come into a V, shoulder width. Nice. I'm going to keep my toes tucked for today. And we want to find the balance between creating this openness through the front of the body and the sense that the legs are pulling in towards one another. So we want spaciousness and stability at the same time. Good. Taking 2 more breaths here. Pulling the right heel and the left knee towards one another. As much as you're trying to rip the mat apart with your legs. Good. And then slowly bring the hands down to the ground, back into a downward facing dog. I'm going to go to the other side, stepping left foot forward or coming into a 3-legged down dog, left leg up to prepare, creating space. And as you exhale, stepping the foot forward, right knee lowers. Good, I'm going to keep my toes tucked. Rising with your upper body. Hand onto the thigh. Good. And again, if you like, you can reach your arms up in any angle that works for you today. And again, finding the balance between pulling towards center, becoming really authentic, and also being spacious, being gracious, calm, and inviting. Good. Take one more breath in. And as you exhale, hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Good. If you like, you can take it through one vinyasa before we sit down for a last pose. You can also just rest in a down dog or in a child's pose. If you like to flow with me, you can come into a plank position. Exhale to lower knees, chest, and chin. Inhale into a little cobra, legs active. And exhale back into a downward facing dog. And wherever you are, you can take a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good. And I'm going to slowly lower the knees a little bit slower than I want to, so that the core gets active again, both knees at the same time. Wonderful. I'm going to sit on my heels for a moment. And we'll integrate everything for a moment before we sit down. So knees about hip width distance as you inhale, reaching the arms out and up. And as you exhale, you can press the hands together and slowly sit down. Good. A few more times. Inhale like you're reaching to grab the air. And exhale, allowing everything to settle into you, into your center. Two more. Inhale. You can lift your heart up a little bit if you like, coming into a gentle back bend. Exhale. Good. Inhale one more time. Good. And from here, we're going to come into our breathing. So you can just sit here on your heels. You can stay there. I'm going to sit on a little cushion. You can, of course, sit cross-legged. You can, of course, lean on a wall or sit on a chair. Good. And then perhaps taking a sigh out of your mouth. And taking a moment just to allow everything to settle. We moved a bit, used our core, so it takes some time until the little specks of energy dust feel like they have settled in our bodies and we become truly still. And checking in if your spine is upright, that you're not sitting too far forward on your sit bones, not too far back. Good, releasing your shoulders a little bit more, your eyes and your facial expression soften. And then you can start to draw your awareness inward. So pratyahara, or closing your eyes. You're not paying so much attention what's happening outside. You're more interested in what's happening within you, like the breath. How is your breath moving right now? Just flowing into your heart or into your belly. Do you barely feel the breath? And for today, since we're looking for authenticity and sort of that gut feeling, I invite your breath to sink a little bit lower into the belly. below the navel, above your pubic bone. So the breath can really air out all of our organs. And the microbiome that's sitting in our gut. So we really think we are ourselves, but there's so many cells in us that are so-called not our cells, that constitute part of our organism. So inviting them into our inquiry as well, by softening the breath into the belly. And as you exhale, pulling the space underneath your belly button towards the spine. Make sure our exhale is also full. Good. And since we want to invite a sense of calm, I invite you to lengthen your exhale a little bit. So perhaps you're inhaling 2, exhaling 2. In that case, you can start to inhale 2, exhale 3, or up to 4. If you're inhaling 3, 1, 2, 3, you can start to lengthen your exhale to 4, and 5, and 6, and so on. Looking to roughly double your exhale to your inhale. The exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms us, brings us into a receptive, digestive, rest and digest, or feed and breathe mode. So we want to prolong the exhale and bring us into that soft state where we can really listen to our inner voice. And if today doubling your exhale doesn't work yet, no problem. You can just still attempt to lengthen your exhale and then inhale whenever you feel necessary. Good. And when you feel that your body has settled, your breath has also become a little bit smoother, calmer, you can come back towards the inquiry or the question that you've had. And just feel into your body if there's a natural response. It might take a little time. So we're not trying to think or overthink the problem. We're looking for a soft inner upward rising of insight or an answer. And keeping the breath calm also through that process. Still feeling the sit bones really heavy. And your posture is bright and upright. Good. And sometimes it's hard to feel the answer. And sometimes you know exactly what the answer is, but you're not willing to accept that answer. Because that gut feeling of an answer isn't really what works for your self-image. And there's a lots of shoulds and coulds. I should not feel that way. Shouldn't be that way. It's not supposed to be that way. So taking whatever that response was that you got instinctively or intuitively, authentically, and just holding that in your heart space for a moment. And taking a moment to accept your authenticity. Accepting that that's how you feel in this moment. It might change. And that that's okay. Maybe allowing the warmth of your heart to embrace the situation. To accept and allow it to be, as opposed to, again, overthinking or fighting it. Good. So noticing now that you're in a state of calm, and hopefully a deeper connection towards your authentic self. Maybe you like to bring the hands on top of the heart. Taking another moment to accept your response to whatever it was that you're inquiring about. Might be different to who you think you are or who you should be. And that might take a time to digest and integrate. But with the warmth and love in your heart, you can slowly embrace the you that you're becoming or the you that you're revealing. Maybe you'd like to bow in towards that heart center and the bravery you've shown by showing up today and doing this practice. And I thank you very much for sharing this practice, for watching this video, and I hope to see you soon.